Welcome to Wireman's Whimsy. Today we're going to make this happy a little bit late birthday. If you're like me, those birthdays that happen at the beginning of the month, I tend to get a little bit late with the card. So I thought we'd do a belated birthday card today. I am using the Drybrush background stamp with Crumb cake, and then using the Happy a Little Bit Late birthday greeting from Happiest of Birthdays. What we're going to need are some scraps of early espresso and of Mossy Meadow for the leaves. We'll also need the leaf punch for the leaves. We'll need a crumb cake card base and a crumb cake mat in 5 1/4 by 4. We'll need the stitched rectangle dies to cut out the greeting and mat the greeting. So we'll need a piece of Merlot and a piece of crumb cake to fit the greeting and the stitched rectangle die. So it's relatively easy to put together. We'll just put those to the side for now. First thing we need to do is we need to stamp the Drybrush background. So to do that, I need a large block. This is block F. And with these ones, I tend to put a piece underneath the stamp so I can lift it easier because it does stick to the case. So we just lay that, it fits on block F perfectly. So then we are going to ink it up. So we will open up the crumb cake ink pad and make sure we've got really good coverage. I just ink it up all over. Put that to the side. And then we're going to place it down, and I'm making sure that I'm not missing an edge anywhere, and I'm just going to press it down. And if you want, you can hold it down and just rub around the back to make sure you've got good coverage, and then you just tap it off like that. I'm just going to put that off to the side. I will clean it later. So there is your background. You can attach that right away with Stamp and Seal to the card base. And you can see this is much darker now than when it dries. It does dry the true crumb cake. When you first stamp it, it looks much darker, but as with many of the inks, it dries much more true to color. So we've got that piece done. Now we can stamp the greeting with the early espresso. So I'm just going to put that in the ink pad, and I'm going to stamp away to make sure I've got good coverage. Just ink it up really well, and then I'm just going to place that down and lift away. I've used the early espresso on this card. And on this card, I used the crumb cake. I like it. I like the subtle of the crumb cake, but I thought I'd try in the demo the early espresso just to see if it pops a little bit more. I'll just sandwich those up and put it through the Stamp and Cut and Emboss. Just lining it up, and then I will crank it through. And I'll need to crank through the Merlot mat for this as well. So, and when we put it through, we make sure we put it through on an angle so that we don't get that hard line going through the rollers. With the stitched rectangle dies, sometimes you just have to be a little bit careful as you're pushing the paper out. Okay, I'll run this through, and then we can punch our leaves out and assemble the card. All right. So the Happiest of Birthdays greeting set is one I use a lot. You'll see it in my videos a lot. I think it's really versatile, and it's got great different emotion with it. This is kind of a fun, upbeat. This is very straightforward. Then we've got kind of a youthful one, and then a more flourishy one. So it does have quite a lot of versatility. I'm just gonna push this out just ever so gently. And that last corner, there we go. Okay, so I can attach this, but I need to just figure out where I'm going to put the stamp and seal to attach the leaves. So I'm just going to punch the leaves out. I'm just using a scrap of early Espresso. And I'll use a scrap of Mossy Meadow. You can use all the same color. You can put the Merlot in if you want. You can put more leaves in if you want. I'm just putting them in at each corner. Now, knowing that I've got a good solid 1/8 of an inch of gap, I'm going to put my stamp and seal in just a little bit further in from the edge, just so you can't see the tape once you've got the mat on. And then I'm just putting these in kitty corner, just like that, and like that, just overlapping the corners a little bit, and then it'll overlap onto the mat as well. Oops, just stick my finger in it. There we go. And there we go for that one. And then I'm just going to stamp and seal this over top. And place it down, just centering it. And there we go. And then I will use dimensionals to attach it to the front of the card. And it is that simple. Just a few tools. If you don't have the stitched rectangle dies, you can just cut the pieces to the size that you want and stack them up. You don't have to use the dies. The punch, I love this punch. I use it quite a lot. Just that little added dimension. And then we just center this and drop it down. And there you have, very simple, very quick birthday card. Especially if you were just a little bit late, you need to get it done as quickly as possible. So this one again has the crumb cake greeting, and this one has the early espresso greeting. So thank you very much for watching. And if there is anything you would like to purchase from this video, please use the links below, and we will see you next time. Thank you so much.